I am honored to introduce Dr. Sharon Sekhon, who's the director of the Studio for Southern California History. She's a brilliant public historian and a tireless advocate for South Asian American history. She's been such a huge supporter of SADA and has done so much to make sure that Dr. Marwah's contributions to Los Angeles and to the US are recognized as they should be. A few weeks ago, because of Sharon's diligent activism, the corner of Vermont Avenue and Finley Avenue in Los Angeles is now Dr. Amarjit Singh Marwah Street. Really fantastic work and such a well-deserved honor. So Sharon will introduce Dr. Marwah and interview him as well.
Thank you. Is this on? Do I have to push a button?
No, I just focus.
I break technology.
This is working? Hello.
Thank you so much for, I'll just speak loud like I always do. Thank you so much for including me today, and I actually don't feel qualified to be speaking in front of all of you. I've clearly learned a lot more than I had coming into today's session, and I'm really humbled and excited about all the things that I've learned today, so thank you. I actually heard about Dr. Marwah way before I met him in person, and it was through my family history. Dr. Marwah was my grandmother's dentist at the USC Dental Clinic, and I heard about him in that context before I understood what an exceptional human being he was. When I was reintroduced to him in 2008, it was because I was asked to advise on a documentary about Sekhon, and I recognized that this was the great man that I had learned about my whole life, and basically threw myself at him. And of course, the humble and gracious man that he is, dealt with me and my needs about knowing my own history in a very generous way. Dr. Marwah came to the United States in 1953 on a Guggenheim Fellowship to do dentistry. He actually comes from a very educated family of doctors that you can see in his carriage of himself and how he treats other people. But more importantly, he is a human being that teaches us how to be better human beings. When he came to the US, he started with his fellowship, but then went on to the University of Illinois, where he received his MS in dentistry, and then got his doctorate at Howard University in dentistry so he could practice in the US. He then went on to have a practice in Chicago, and after a few years, his family begged him to move to a warmer climate, which made it possible for my family to know him and for me to learn about this person I had heard about my whole life, and then finally, basically harass every week so that I can learn more about humanity and feel better about the world. That's why I talked to Dr. Marwah. When I learned about how important he is in terms of Los Angeles history, my nonprofit is dedicated to Southern California history, place-based history. That's how I first was really excited about his history. He was the Commissioner of Cultural Affairs for the City of Los Angeles under Tom Bradley for 20 years. He helped preserve over 180 monuments that are dedications to social history in this city, including the Hollywood sign, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, the Bradbury Building, Union Station, Chinatown, Olvera Street, and my favorite site, which is Evergreen Cemetery. He helped preserve the 1888 Chinese shrine there. These are all sites that teach us that we are not recent immigrants to this country, and more importantly, we need to do the same thing if we have those tools and powers at our disposal. I actually originally did not want to do the question and answer with Dr. Marwah because I feel really underqualified, and I had asked Dr. Stanley Walpert to do this. Unfortunately, on Monday, Dr. Walpert passed away, and I would like us to have a moment of silence for him because he was such a prolific historian and wonderful person, and also one of Dr. Marwah's closest friends. They were friends for over 55 years, and we were very lucky to have him speak at our street dedication, where he described Dr. Marwah as a lion. And I think that is one of the best descriptions of him, because he's courage under fire, he's fearless, and he also gets things done. He also gives us dignity. He teaches us how to carry ourselves and to really love each other. So I would like us to have a moment of silence for Dr. Stanley Walpert, and then I've asked Dr. Marwah to tell us a little bit about him. And then I'm going to ask Dr. Marwah to tell us why he came to this country and ask him more specific questions. I do want you to note that I'd rather have you ask him more questions than me. So I have about 5 questions I want to ask him that are very specific to my needs. And then I want you all to feel more comfortable about asking him questions and to use this more as an open discussion. Because his memory is much sharper than anybody I know. And many people have stated that he's the smartest person they know. And I think that's true with me as well. He's constantly humbling me with his knowledge, but more importantly, his graciousness and his humility and his ideas of how we matter, regardless of class, regardless of what we look like, regardless of gender. So with that, I want us to have a moment of silence where we think about Dr. Stanley Walpert, and then I'm going to ask Dr. Marwah to speak about him. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes for about 15 seconds. Oh, wait,
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Dr. Stanley Walpert was a great historian. He was professor in the department of UCLA of history. Now he's professor emeritus. He was 1.5 years younger than me. And his specialty was Indian history. And this man was not only intelligent, he was super intelligent. He has written so much literature on the Indian history, you can't even imagine. First time, he visited India in 1948, when Gandhi was assassinated. And he came back, wrote a novel, 9 Hours to Rama, about Gandhi's assassination. That was banned by the Indian government. But it was the bestseller in the country. And I met him in Los Angeles in 1954, in 1964, when I came in 62. And we kept in touch with each other. We had sessions together on whenever there was a problem in India, or on any cultural get-togethers, we were together. And I called him 2 weeks ago. City of Los Angeles agreed to name a square in Hollywood in my name, and he was one of the speakers. After his speech, he called me back. He said, I want to come back and see you in Malibu. He and his wife came in, like, what's on your mind? Stanley said, Doctor, I'm going to start writing your life and legacy, a book. They did go back on a vacation to see his son up north. And he was coming back he was supposed to come back on Tuesday. Monday night he passed away. And we lost a wonderful historian, the best historian in the world in Indian history, written on everybody, on Jinnah, Nehru, the partition of India, on the 9 Hours to Rama, and even many other books like the Era of Judgment or the Jallianwala Bagh, when the General Dyer killed thousands of Indians in Amritsar. So he was a living legend in the history books of this country and India. We really feel, we lost a jewel in this country at that.
Thank you, Dr. Marwah. I'd like to ask you, why did you decide to come to the United States?
It's a long story, darling. I've seen the partition of India. I became a dentist in 1947. I was hardly 21.5 years old. I was educated under the English professors. My deans were English. At that time, there was only one dental school in all of India. They took only 16 students a year. After graduation, partition took place, same year. But I got a very good job with the state government. And I was the only dentist in the whole state of Punjab. But I was a young fellow, from a nice family. And in Indian hospitals, which are meant for the poor people, they don't get the treatment. They wait all day, sit down outside, rich come in, and they are teachers right away. I had a different. I did not teach the rich. I treat them if they come by turn. I treat only the poor because they are the ones who need treatment. My bosses, my superiors didn't like me. My director hated me. Rich loved me. Rich hated me. Poor loved me. That's what happened. But the only thing that the biggies will complain about me to the government, that this boy doesn't treat us. Like, no, I treat you, but only by turn. Or after I close the hospital, come down. I'll stay overnight, over the time. I'll still treat you, free. They didn't like it. They used to transfer me every 6 months, from one station to another. And that was a blow for me. I couldn't meet the people. Once I make a report with the public, I'm gone. So I couldn't settle down. It went on for 3.5 years. And I was tired. Then the this country offered a fellowship in dentistry under the Guggenheim Foundation and a Fulbright scholarship to India. Interview was in Bombay for 40 candidates for one fellowship. I luckily won it with His grace. I came on that one. At that time I was married. I had one child and my wife was pregnant. My parents didn't want to leave. No. I didn't want to come to this country because I heard this country is no good. It doesn't treat the people right. Because I grew up under the English people all my life. But I was able to convince my parents to let me go. I leave the family there, my wife was pregnant. So I left. I came on a ship. My fellowship was in New York, the Guggenheim Foundation, the children dentistry. It's a small fellowship. I entered a room a few blocks away. I used to go in the bus in the morning. The driver looks at me back and forth. I was uncomfortable. I go, what's happening? So I passed on the footpath. They called me Genie. I was uncomfortable. 4 or 5 months passed by. Christmas came in. I didn't know what Santa is. I was so ignorant, very ignorant. I didn't know. I see an old man sitting on the footpath, having fun, large children around, people taking pictures. After the clinic, I was going back home, I stood right next to him. People took pictures. And they said, they had never seen one man with a turban before. And I went back home. Next morning, I come by the same bus. The same driver said, good morning, sir. I said, what happened? I didn't know that. I go to my clinic. Everybody said, Santa the Sun. They took the pictures. The New York Times fellow was there also. He took a picture, put my picture in the New York Times, Santa the Sun. I had a black beard. And that changed my life. People used to call me 100 invitations a day. My Santa Sun is very busy. Same people called me Genie. He said, good morning, sir. That changed my life. Changed my whole concept completely. And this is how I came in. I still didn't want to stay in the country. I wanted to go back. But UCLA gave me a fellowship for my master's. I came to Chicago. And they treated me very well. Then they gave me a teaching job along with it. Then Harvard University gave me a fellowship, do my GDS. Without that, I couldn't practice. I could teach. That was also a fellowship. So I finished all those in about 3 or 4 years. I came back. Then after finishing my master's, I called my wife and children. They came here. But they were away. I was away from them for 3 years. My wife never liked Chicago. So the US public had sent us back to India as exchange professor at Bombay University. And I still I didn't have intentions to come back. But still didn't work. My thing didn't work out in India. I was more changed my habits slightly. And then we came back. My wife insisted we're not going to live here. And I do not know anybody anywhere else. So I luckily passed the California boards, and I came here to California in '62, and that's where my home is now.
And that's how I got to meet him, because he got a job working at USC's dental clinic. And this was a clinic that still exists for a low-income community to come and get dental work. What I love about this story is that my dad was getting his PhD at USC, and he brought my grandmother to work that day, and she met his wife, Kuljit, in the bathroom. They're both wearing Punjabi suits in Los Angeles, saying, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here?" And that was this connection that kept me connected to him. And I think Kuljit is a big part of your philanthropy and your open heart. Could you speak a little bit about your wife?
We met very different way. I got married in 1949 in India. She was sitting that end of the table. I was sitting in this end of the table. We never talked to each other. But both families had arranged all this get together. She uttered a word, I didn't utter a word. After all the coffee and tea, I said, "What do you think?" My God, I haven't decided. Then the families put pressure on you. Within a couple of days, they put such a pressure, I said, okay. That's how we got married. But she belonged to a very good family from Patiala in India. And our family was a physician's family. Because my grandfather was a physician in 1880, my father was a physician in 1914, my brother was a physician, my uncles were physicians. My son was a physician, my grandchildren were physicians. So this is how we grew up. But she had a big heart. If I'm doing something with the poor, she wouldn't care. I used to go to India for the last 25 years to work for the poor people in education. And she'll ask me all the time, "What's the damage?" When I came back, I haven't counted. That was it. That's the end of the talk. But she knew exactly from the bank account how much money has gone. So she didn't care. And this is why I could do all the things I've done in India or this country. She didn't love money at all. She didn't care where I spent the money. I had a free hand to spend. And whatever God gave us, we gave a part of it to the poor and needy. Even I'll tell you one example. I know I came to this city in '62 as a professor to USC. At that time, there was only one medical building on Soccer Street, which was a segregated building. No minority could get in. So I did go to the building to rent an office. He said, "Doctor, no office." Somebody told me one physician just died yesterday. So I went back in. Office available, because we don't want more dentists. So I was puzzled. That is the only medical building I want to practice, very close to USC. And I said, "Sir, I definitely want an office in this building." He said, "No, can't give you." I wouldn't get up. To scare me, he said, "Doctor, there's a 6-year lease." And I'm a new man. I didn't know anybody except her grandmother, Chaiji. That's the only person I knew in Los Angeles. And there were 20 Indians in Los Angeles at that time going to school. There were no Indians. And he had 6 years. So I thought about it. Man, It's a good size office, 1,500 square feet. Rent was $250. $250 was a lot of money in '62. So I looked at him. I said, "How about 10-year lease?" He said, "10-year?" Yes. He had no choice. They had to give me the office. I was the only minority looking in those 5 buildings for many, many years. Till those buildings changed, became the Beverly Hills of blacks. And that's it. That's what happened. That's how I got the building stayed. But I stayed in the same building all my life when I practiced here. But this is how my story is, how I got settled last time. And also, you know, I didn't know anybody. My office was 3rd floor on the building, small little board, and my phone didn't ring for 8 days. I was scared. I have to pay the secretary, I have to pay the rent. What I'm going to do? After 8 days, a phone rang. There was one fellow, his name was Mr. Captain. He called me, "Doctor, Mr. Captain." He was my patient in Chicago. He moved here. He was looking for a dentist. He called my office in Chicago. He said, "Doctor moved there." He said, "Doctor, are you very busy?" Maybe you were the first call in 8 days. I don't have any patients. He was my first patient. But he came to Disneyland for a workup, and how I started my practice from there, Disneyland people. And even Disney, both girls were my patients. And that's how he helped me. That's my little life story.
That's one part of a really vast story. I would like you to extend your discussion of Kuljit to talk about how you used your family home to invite Indian students to come over every Sunday.
No, that's what happened is, no Indians had a home except the older group like Chaiji, others, Indian homes. Nobody else. I built my home in '62 up in Baldwin Hills. Students used to meet me, "Doctor, we want to see you." I come on Sundays. So I opened the home for Sundays for lunch for any Indian who come down. I kept the habit from '62 to '69. Anybody can come. We started with 20 people. By '69, I had 400 boys for lunch. My wife cooked. My children washed the dishes every day. And Kuljit didn't care. Then, it was an every Sunday affair, having lunch with the people and serving them. Then in '69, there were only 2 Sikh temples in this country, Stockton and El Centro. There were no other Sikh temple. But some of the boys knew that I had a building in Hollywood as an investment, as a commercial property. They said, "Give us the building." No way. Give you the building. My wife said, "Listen to me. You must have spent more money in feeding these boys, not only lunch but the beer. Your building may be worth. Give it to them." I agreed. That became the first Sikh temple in the country of the United States, after '47. And this is how she didn't care. And then we spent a lot of money to renovate the temple, do this all. Everybody used to come there. Even Chaiji paid money to renovate the temple, some of it, early part. Our grandmother, Chaiji, we got that. And this is how it happened. My wife never objected why it happened. Let me tell you, another example. I've been spending a lot of money on this Hollywood Sikh temple to upgrade the temple. But a year ago, the people were after me, "Doctor, you've done a lot of work, push chandeliers." Now come on, you have some villages, you haven't seen chandeliers. So I said, "No." Somehow I did go to one shop in Beverly Hills, he's a friend of mine. I said, "Show me such big chandelier." He said, "Doctor, if you want this one, it's $24,000. If you want the gold one, $30,000. Well, a lot of money. I forgot. I didn't even mention my wife. A month, just about 2 weeks before death, I mentioned to her. They've been after me anytime I go to temple. chandelier. Did you see anybody? Anything? Well, yeah, 5 months ago. I saw some, I didn't tell you. He said, how much it cost? He said, I said, 30,000. Can you first 30,000? It's God's home. Do it. A week before that, I ordered. And the man said, doctor is going to cost us 4 days to put it on. So they start on Wednesday, they finish on Saturday, Sunday morning she passed away. Now that she saw it, now I saw it. At 11 days later, I saw it. That's what happened. So it used to happen that way. She didn't care. They went doing it for betterment of the people or the poor people, she wouldn't care. And she did. And that's how we got along pretty well for 69 years.
Dr. Marwah, I always like to call that chandelier Kuljit's. I call that chandelier Kuljit's chandelier, just like Diana has a bench in front of the Taj Mahal. You know, that is her spot, and that is who we think about. I want you all to know that Dr. Marwah has always honored his wife in any time he speaks about his accomplishments. And it's natural. It's not something that he puts on display. It's who he is. And I don't see men doing that often. And it's always humbling to see great men honor great women. I wanted you to tell me a little bit about the Sekhon campaign.
The Sekhon's campaign was a different story. I knew about Dr. Sekhon because the family has been known to us for a long, long time, early part of the century. But I never met him because he came here much earlier, not even born at that time. But the first time I met him was 1955, first time in Los Angeles, Dr. Sekhon. I came here with the Maharaja Patiala. He wanted to come to the West Coast, I knew him. That's why I was like a little boy with him, came in. That's when I met him. And then, at that time, he was trying to stand for the Congress seat. Luckily, he got a seat. He got a Democratic ticket. Luckily, I don't think the Democrats knew that he was an Indian. I don't think so. He could go and judge the son. That's how this started. Then I used to come every year to help him out a little bit. That was in this Imperial Valley. That's where I used to stay there. And I was a student at that time. But I spent every year with him a couple of months in summer. That was the greatest achievement for our country, for our community. Because you broke a barrier to the Congress of the United States. Nobody was ever elected as a minority before that. He was the first man to break a barrier. And he was an excellent orator, out of the world orator. If you listen to him sometime, he was finished. But he did go to every home, he and his wife both married, and told them, I'm the man. He won by very little margin. Very little margin. But then when we did go to the Capitol steps, then I came out. I've never showed my turban, ever. Then we came out, and we announced the name Dr. Dalip Singh Son. Federal government shook up. Country shook up. Our man came in. But with the Kennedy era, we were very comfortable. Kennedy was coming up at that time. They were not the presidents, but he was senator at that time. And so, but we had no problem after that. 60, 56, 58, 60, then 62, he had a stroke. And I had the privilege of doing his cremation at that time. It was good to do a eulogy for him at that time. We lost the greatest man who broke a barrier to the Congress of the United States.
I think one of the big barriers that he broke that a lot of people don't mention is that he's the first person of a non-Abrahamic faith to be elected, non-Judeo-Christian, that he's Sikh. And that is very important in terms of how we describe our country. It needs to be integrated into our understanding of who we are. I know that my father doesn't talk about India at all, and when I tried to get information out of him, often they're lies or just covered up, because he escaped genocide. He escaped a really horrific experience in India, and to think about it hurts him. But I know that there are other histories that are there, and knowing that from you is something I want to talk to you about. Can you share your experience playing basketball in India?
Basketball in India was not very popular in my days. I'm talking of 1938. And I started playing basketball, I think I was not a bad player, I was a good player. Luckily, I did play basketball till my high school, did play basketball in my college, in Medical College, and I did well. I had all the colors of university, state, college, school, everything. And that gave me a little bit start into a different kind of people. But after I left my medical college, I stopped basketball. I didn't play after that. They were not like these big players, but we were okay because we were just starting basketball that time in India.
I think it's important for all of us to see people in their whole spectrum of humanity. And you know, at Dr. Marwah's living room, his basketball patches are on display. His awards for basketball are on display. And I think that's a way to think about you. I also want to ask you a little bit about how it was to be the Commissioner of Cultural Affairs for Los Angeles under Tom Bradley.
Yes.
What was Tom Bradley like to work with?
You know, I made an entry into the City Hall in the mid-60s. Mid-60s, city started under Georgie, 60 program. And we started a 60 program of Bombay, Los Angeles. I became the chairman. I became the president. Chairman was Bob Andrews, from the film writer. And so this is what made me enter into. At that time, Bradley was a policeman. And later on, he elected as a councilman. But I liked Bradley because I used to help him financially a little bit. The Georgie hated me. Bradley liked me. So the Georgie knew that I'm helping him. Every time I go to City Hall, he say, "You helping Bradley?" I like him. So he couldn't put me off from the other job of the Sister City program. Then 1969, Bradley lost against him. In 73, we worked again with Bradley. He won. So as soon as Bradley won the seat as a mayor of Los Angeles, he took me in as a commissioner. And he kept me with him as chairman of the commissions for close to 19 years. Every 5 years, they'll promote me again, keep me again. This is how I like the man. I've never seen a mayor as clean as Bradley. He was not biased. He treated everybody equal. Being a black fellow, he did not give priority to anybody. This is how he was successful for 5 terms, 20 years. And even I was the head pallbearer for Tom Bradley's. Myself and our vice president, Al Gore, were head pallbearers. Because he had respect for me, I had respect for him. He's the most clean man I've ever seen in my life. And he is the one who opened, when I gave my building to the community temple, he was a councilman. He opened the building, not anybody else. So Tom Bradley was, I think the country lost the honest man. When he died, he had only one at home, nothing else. You can imagine.
And thankfully, with Sada, we actually have photographs of Tom Bradley at that first dedication in the temple. It's incredible to see your elected leader honoring you in that way. As a historian doctor, I need to tell you that I have seen your image in public art because of Tom Bradley's multicultural coalition. He wanted the city leaders to look like the city. And that made a big impression on me as a historian because I had never seen myself in any public monument, much less my grandmother's or my father or my mother. And you can still see Dr. Marwah, he's part of a big mural in the Union Station MTA Center. If you go toward the bus terminal, he's part of a huge mural that shows that rainbow coalition that many believe that Barack Obama borrowed from when he campaigned. I want to open up the Q&A to all of you because I know you have questions that are pressing and I want to make sure you can ask them. Anybody have any questions? Yes. Yes, please.
I'll speak louder.
Okay.
Dr. Marwah, thank you so much for being here. A question for you, this is more from a personal perspective. I think when you came to this country and also maybe even the 60s and 70s, a lot of the philanthropy that happened in the community was towards building the community. So centers, common places of gathering. But now, the philanthropy that my generation should be contributing towards, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, how should philanthropy go? In the beginning, when you started doing all of your philanthropic efforts, you focused on building the community. What should philanthropists today focus on? Is that the correct phrasing?
Yeah, or the generation now, we spend our money on travel and things.
Oh, perfect, thank you.
Oh, is this better?
Now it is better. Okay.
So, when you came here and also when you were established here, you spend your money in building the community, right? And the philanthropists of your generation did that too. Now that the community is slightly built, my generation and generations to come, the philanthropy that we should participate in, what should that look like? Just curious from your perspective.
You have to really think of other people who need you. If you have made money, I never had a problem making money. Anything I did, it gave me a good return. I had ranches, gave me a good return. I didn't need it. My children did well. They grew up here and other children. And then I did for the people who need you, for the poor, and nobody else.
Why don't you tell them about your last two projects?
Huh?
Tell her about your projects at Howard University.
I'll tell you about that. Because I did go. She asked me another question, but I'll answer you right now. I had planned to work. I came from India. I know what happened to the poor in India. I started my work in this country first. I put 105 students in education. Anybody needed money, I gave to them. I know who they were. But if they don't waste their money, if they go to school properly, have a good grade average, I continue it. Now, in India, I started 25 years ago, generally, to work in education for the poor. And I opened schools, I built a college, I built many health facilities for the poor people in villages. And even I did 2 villages in India. One I adopted only because it's a historical village where Guru Gobind Singh stayed 2 weeks. And I changed the village completely. In the running water, sewage system, interlocking tiles and streets, palm trees and streets, the town hall, bus stand, and a park. Their life has changed. Another village I did lately, his name was Riba di Basti. In English means poor people's village. That was the name of the village. Only 50 homes, The other village, Guru Kidab, is 150 people, 150 households, 1,000 people. The rich. That I did it only because historical. This one, 50 homes. There no water for 45 years. No toilets, 45 years. I did that also. They give them water, sewage system, town hall, paved streets. Now their life is changed. And you can tell me, let me tell you one thing which touched my heart. 2 years ago, when I completed the villages, they gave me a surprise. Both the villages got together, put my marble statues in. I was finished. Both of them. I didn't need that. But I do it because God has been very kind to me. I made money in ranches. I made money in real estate. I made money in bank. I had a bank in India, Bank of Punjab. We ran that for 15, 16 years. I made money. So I don't need money. My children don't need money. They're doing well. So whatever excess we have, I'm my foundation. Sharing, Caring and Service Foundation. I put in that one. We spend. And this is, it gives you consolation. If you leave money, it'll be wasted. For younger people, keep few dollars on one side. You think you're going to give it to the people who need you. And they'll only say, God bless you. You're good enough.
Would you tell them about Howard University?
Okay. I did my education in 2 universities, University of Illinois and Harvard University. I do help them, being an alumni. Last year, I helped a little bit more, $250,000 to each of them. Now, the University of Illinois started a fellowship, and my wife's name forever. Harvard University named the Amarjit Dental Clinic in my name forever. And they put our both pictures in the hallway in both universities. And they were kind. I did not a favor to them, that I paid them money, but they gave me free education. That's how I made the money. Otherwise I wouldn't have made money. I never got $1 from my father. He didn't want to. He could send me as a physician, but never. This country gave me free education. This is why I do it. But if you, young girl, if you're making good money, keep $10 on one side. You'll do it. It'll be a great consolation in your mind.
We have time for one more question, but I know that Dr.
Yes, sir.
Marwah, yes, sir.
Yeah, just from your
Wait.
experience.
Talk a little louder than I can hear.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, that's good.
Once again, thank you for coming out, Dr. Marwah. And just from your experience, could you just talk about the congressional tribute to Dr. Sand in 1973 and how was that like?
In 1973, Congress did a tribute.
Huh?
Congress did a tribute to D.S. Sand in 1973.
Yes.
Can you tell us about it?
And Dr. Sand died in 73. That's when it happened. And they didn't give at that time that much. It took them a long time to put this picture, Sand picture over there. It took them a long time to name these Temecula's, this post office there on his name. It was after his death that they understood that this man is worth naming somewhere. It was a privilege to see that at least this country recognized Sand, the first American minority to go to bed.
In Congress, they had a tribute to him.
Yes, they had a tribute in that one. When he died, sure they had a tribute. They had a wonderful tribute against Sand. There's no doubt.
Okay, I do want to show you two things. One is, this is proof. It's talking about this symbolic annihilation. When I was getting my PhD, I did Asian American Studies, and I was told I couldn't do it because I wasn't Asian. So I want to show a picture of my grandmother so you can see proof, and this idea that we are much more than what you think we are, and that some of us have longer traditions that are much more fragile than you think. And I also want to show Dr. Marwah when he first came to this country. There's a great picture of you behind you. Yeah. And now I think that we're going to have the chai and one more question. So handsome all the time.
Dr. Marwah, can I have the honor to present to you 2 books relating to my grandfather, Dr. Bhagwan Singh Gyani, by Bhagwan Singh Gyani, please?
Yes. Come on down. Who wants to give you some books?
One thing I want to tell you. We have to pay respect to few people who are before us. Dr. Dalip Singh Sawant, even Dr. Bhagat Singh Thind, J.J. Singh, Dr. Anup Singh, who worked for us to get to the immigration in 1946. You could imagine. Dr. Bhagat Singh Thind, as you all know, came as a student also. Went to the First World War, was relieved as the Honorable GI in 1918, was refused this immigration. Was he good enough to kill himself? Not good enough to be a GI, be an immigrant. He fought in the Supreme Court, refused in 1935. Luckily, 1936, Congress passed a law that all the Honorable GIs of World War I must be given the immigration. So he was the first Indian in 1936 to get the immigration. Otherwise, this country only gave in 46. You could imagine. These were the people who worked hard to get us where we are. And even J.J. Singh went back to India. Dr. Anup Singh went back to India, became the member of the upper house. He used to come back to me many times, Anup Singh, after that. Many years he came in, then he passed away. So this is why those are the people who opened doors for us. And the people who even came to work here in fields, they opened the doors for us. Don't forget them, sitting in the back of the buses. Don't forget living in some homes, you can't even go. He told me one time that the Sacramento, she bought a home, and she couldn't enter in. When they went in, they would let her in. Those are the touching points you can imagine. We didn't have a problem. I came at time, went a little better. And I need them. And luckily, God was kind to me, they keep on giving money to go to school. So I did okay. But those are the people who opened doors for us who came in 1900. And today, we're having the fruits of that hard work of those people.
So Dr. Marwah, we would like to honor you with books from his grandfather.
Thanks.
Please come up.
Thank you.
And you can sit there if you want.
Thank you.
One by one. This has all his poems. The first poem was written in 1914, which he sent to Lala Hardayal.
Yes.
And Lala Hardayal invited him to come to USA to work with him.
Yes.
He said, I'm working in Canada. Let me finish my work. Along with that, he sent a poem, Sachi Pagar. That was the first poem in Gadari Gunja by Bhagwan Singh.
Thank you, sir.
And all his 51 poems are all about Gadar. Nothing about religion, nothing about family. They are all in it, sir. And I'm honored to present that to you.
Thank you.
This is the picture you have seen many times.
But
This
you
is-
have to sign it.
This is the Mamayas up to 1919.
Yes.
There are 2 more volumes in the making. And this is Bhagwan Singh's different.
Yes.
This is his family. This is my granddaughter, this is secretary. This is again that picture, you have seen it. Okay. And
Yet the Gadarites who took a Kamagata ship in 1915 and shook the British.
he gave 2 lectures in Japan to the Kamagata passengers. I told them I'm deported from Canada. You are going there, go as brave men. I know the conditions are there.
But
Don't guy.
they never came back. Thank you, sir.